Okay, so I got this DeWalt random orbital sander I've had maybe for 10 years, but I don't use it that much. And it started kind of squealing, which was hard to hear because I had the kind of headphones in, and I ignored it for a little while, but then it got worse, and it started to spin super, super fast when I lifted it off the wall, which it's not supposed to do as a random orbital sander. So what I decided to do was take it apart, and I started by just lubricating the bearings. And you can see there's one here. Sorry about that shadow. So we got one here. Okay, a bearing there, and then we have one. I'm not going to do it now, but if you take the pad off, these 3 Torx screws, you can lubricate that bearing as well. That did not totally fix everything. So then I did some reading that the brushes are a common problem. And me being kind of, definitely this not being my field, I said, oh, it's probably like a rubber brush that wore down. Well, it has nothing to do with that. So it's actually carbon. Okay, so it's these 2 carbon pieces that basically wear down. Okay, and what you have to do is, I'm trying to get the best lighting I can here. Doing everything by myself with the video here. So on this side you have one, and then on this side you have one on the other side. And those 2 pieces rub against, and I already forgot what the name of this is, but the centerpiece, which is kind of copper. And you're trying to get conduction there essentially. But this little spring has to be pushed, kind of pulled back, make sure everything's unplugged. And then you pull this back. You could pull it gently by the wire, and look on this side. Whoop, there goes the nail. On this side, this is a worn down brush. This is called a brush. It's just carbon. But now it's a little flatter because what I did was I got my Dremel tool, because I actually noticed one of these was kind of fragmented or fractured. The other one was rounded. Rounded not the way you would expect. It's actually rounded to not conform to the centerpiece or this core. So what I did was I grabbed my Dremel tool, which is an amazing tool. I use this many times for many different things. So I just grabbed one of these random, I don't know, kind of random, I don't remember which one this is, but it's a pretty rough grit wheel. I decided to use the wheel that's not tapered because it gave me like a more even grind. So I just turned it on a really low setting, fairly low, maybe, what was that, 5,000 RPMs, very low setting, and that wore down the carbon very fast, so don't go much higher than that. But I did that on both sides, and then I put them back in, and it worked like it was a brand new machine, believe it or not. Now putting it back in is where it gets to be a little bit difficult, and I lost my nail, so let me see if I can get something else. I'll just use a little screw here, but basically if you want to get those back in, I mean you're going to have to get it to work. What you want to do is basically get this spring, flip it out, and then you can slide that. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this with one hand, but let's see. Essentially then you're going to slide that back in. Slide that back in place, and then you're going to put the spring back onto it. It'll automatically fall back onto it, and that'll hold it against the centerpiece, which the pros are going to laugh at me, but I already forgot what that's called. But it worked very well once I did that. And I won't go ahead and turn on. It's just going to sound like any other sander. But it actually gave me a better orbital spin now, and it's not giving me that like helicopter super spin that kept happening after I pulled it off the wall, and then it would gouge the wall. And that seems to have gone away too. So it's, despite what some people are saying online, that they say like, don't try to fix your brushes, and they say just buy new ones. But then that takes some extra. Then you have to wire it, take some extra time. And I just, if they're not too tiny, if they're not already worn down to nothing, you can still get them to work. And that's what I just kind of proved to myself.